Shabbat Shalom, testing. Sounds good. You can hear me today. Shabbat Shalom. We're just waiting a few moments for those people who are in the community hall to come on in. And if you can hear the sound of my voice, as I was saying earlier, I would say clap one time, but that's not what we're going to do. I would say if you can hear the sound of my voice, feel free to come into the sanctuary as we will be starting our services in just a moment or two. Shabbat Shalom and welcome to Adith Emmanuel for those who are joining us here in person and those who are able to join us through the blessing of technology, where on this particular Friday we're giving honor to and recognizing some of our new members who have joined us in the past year. And we're delighted that members of our Habonim Youth Choir and Adult Choir are here to enrich our service, not through the whole time, but here and there. And as always, it's an invitation for us to join with them as they lead. We are going to open today on page 644, with Hine Matov. How good and how pleasant it is for us to be together.
Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manayim, 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 shevet achim gam yachad.
And we turn now to the lighting and blessing of our Shabbat candles, which you can find on page 120 in your Siddur. It's my pleasure to call to the Bima Matt Sheckman and Robin Baumgarten to lead us in the lighting and blessing of our Shabbat candles, followed by the Kiddush.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'hadlik neh shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Blessed are you, eternal God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei bari ha'kafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ritzivanu, v'shabbat kadsha v'yahavov ratzon hihilanu, zikaron l'maaseh b'reishit. Hu yom tehillah l'mikro de kodesh, zeker l'tzion mitzrayim, ki vanu v'havtam, yomanu kidashtam, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshekam,
As we turn now in our Siddur and our prayer books to page 138, we welcome in Shabbat with Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, lekavela. 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 Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, נשמות וזכור בריבון אחד, השפיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, שם ותפארת ולתהילה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה, לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. Verse 5. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי בעורף קומי אורי, אורי אורי שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובשולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי כלה, בואי כלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה.
And while we're standing, we take a moment to turn to one another. Perhaps not the person next to us if we already know that person, to introduce ourselves to one another and share our greetings of Shabbat Shalom. And if you're joining us through the blessing of technology, feel free to say Shabbat Shalom and tell us where it is you're joining us from this evening as you watch Shabbat services. And those are conversations which we can continue following our services at our Oneg Shabbat. As we turn now to our prayer cards, we We are on the side that says Shabbat Psalms sheet as we continue with Baruch Hu. Page 268.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, ושבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
On page 269, we read responsively. We worship the power that unites the universe, a promise of harmony for all. Yet that oneness eludes our grasp as imperfection and evil abound. Before our eyes there is a vision of perfection, order, and goodness. There is evil enough to break the heart, and there is good enough to exalt the soul. When will redemption come? When we grant everyone what we claim for ourselves. Long ago we escaped the tyranny of Egypt. Our people saw the power of the Most High. We learned God's presence redeems time and event, so we celebrate this power that makes for freedom. As we turn now to our prayer card again, offering that blessing in which we praise God for protecting us at night as we lie down to sleep, that we may be refreshed new in the morning. Hashkivenu.
Give us a place to rest our head, God. Help us understand that you're right here. When we sleep throughout the night and wake with morning's light, we know you're right here. We may come and go, come and go. We're not alone. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom. Ve'amidenu shomreinu lechaim. Lechaim. You guide us when we lose our way, God. You take away our pain. Why are you here? To shield us when we close our eyes, to give us peace of mind. Adonai, Adonai, you'll always be right here. We may come and go, come and go. We're not alone. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom. Ve'amidenu shomreinu lechaim. We continue on page 272,
Vishamru.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Shabbat. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Shabbat. Lasot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam b'rit olam. Lasot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam b'rit olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Shabbat. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Shabbat. V'nei uvein v'nei Yisrael ot hila olam. V'nei uvein v'nei Yisrael ot hila olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Shabbat. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Shabbat. Ki sheshet yamin asa Adonai et ha-shamayim v'et haaretz. Ki sheshet yamin asa Adonai et ha-shamayim v'et haaretz. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Shabbat. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Shabbat. Vayom hashvi Shabbat vayinafash. Vayom hashvi Shabbat vayinafash. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Shabbat. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Shabbat.
On page 273, we rise for tefillah.
Adonai sifatai tiftachu fi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah. Ha'el ha'gadol ha'gibor v'hanora, El Elyon gomel chasadim tovim ve'koneh hakol, ve'zocher chasdei avot v'imahot, u'mevii geulah livnei v'ne'am, leman shemo be'ahava. Melech ozer u'moshia u'magen, Baruch atah Adonai, magen Avraham ve'Zera Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh kol atah rav le'oshia, Mashiv haruach morit hakashem, Mechalchal chaim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, Zomech noflim v'rofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, V'ishini afar, Michamo kabal gevurot, Umito melach, Melech meimit umechayeh, Umasmiach Yeshua, Bnei manata lachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kedoshim b'chol yom yalelu chasela. Baruch atah
continue on page 281. For the good in us which calls us to a better life, we give thanks. For the strength to improve the world with our hearts and our hands, we offer praise. For the desire in us which leads to work for peace, we are grateful. For life and nature, harmony and beauty, for the hope of tomorrow, all praise to the source of being. For all these things, O Sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Blessed are you, Adonai. Your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, na'eh lehodot.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Ki otahu melech Aron, lechol hashalom. Ki otahu Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Tasim
We continue our prayer now silently, whether we are led by the words on the pages of our Siddur through page 285, or other prayers throughout the prayer book, or those meditations and thoughts in our hearts. We turn our thoughts and prayers now to those who are in need of healing, and so we turn in our Siddur to page 371, page 371 in the middle of the page for our, tonight we're doing the Misha Berach from our prayer card. And just have that ready. It's on the side that has the tree on it, right?
Attic logo. The side that says Shabbat song sheet with the attic logo in the top right hand corner.
Oh, and the attic logo. Sorry. Okay. So also I want to remind you that if you are thinking of somebody who's in need of healing, in addition to adding their name, for those who are joining with the blessing of technology, you can add those names in the chat, and those who are here in person will have a chance to add those names afterward. And if you want, there are the postcards on the table outside in the foyer. If you want to then send a little note to the person you're thinking of and let them know that we have been offering our prayers to them this evening. In our Adith Emmanuel family, we send our blessings of healing to Marion Portnoy, Carrie Amarello, Ian Clark, Malcolm Fletcher, Marcia Krantz, Ellen Bertuglia, Jeff Lesser, Goldie Schultz, Mindy Fisher, Kayla Chana Bat Adan Leib Umasalea, Barbara Savage, Marlene Gratchner, Sophie Gaia Siegel, Sarah Gardner, Cindy DiRicio, Harry Greenberg, Judy Fowler, Nick Bod, Deb Nielsen, Moshe Ben Elizabeth Theodore, Rosalie Middleman, Jennifer Ness, George Goldstein, Harriet Eisner, Carla Teisch, Linda Drachman, Chaim Ben David, Eileen Davison, Craig Davison, Hugh Morton, Art Bond, Roberta Levine, Jordan Steinberg, Lisa Galda, Ed Crosby, Myra Kaplan, Jeff Schaefer, Louis Alahut, Carol Schaefer, Mary Mednitsky, Jocelyn Jackson, Jen Jones, Michael Infanti, Gary Garnick, Ann Marsden, Rick Ulrich, Ileana Cohen, and others whom we're thinking of at this time. If you have a name to add and you're in the sanctuary, please feel free to stand as you're able and say that person's name aloud as my hand passes through the congregation. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofei HaCholim.
Mi sheberach avotenu Avraham, Yitzchak veYaakov. Mi sheberach imotenu Sarah Rivka Leah Biracham
At this time, I would like to invite to the Bema all those new members who are here tonight to offer a new member welcome blessing. And if you are joining us through technology and you are a new member and you feel comfortable where you are, I would invite you to stand and place it at home. As we're able, we rise. So we can all gather around here. Balance the bema a little bit.
Get the canter side a little bit.
Bruchim habaim. Oh, here comes the rest of the family. Bruchim habaim b'shem Adonai beirachnuchem mi beit Adonai. Blessed are you who have come here in the name of God. We bless you from this house of God. You have come here to unite with all who sustain synagogues for prayer, study, and deeds of loving kindness. Paraphrasing the words of singer-songwriter Debbie Friedman, these are the gifts that you bring, that you may help build this holy place. Your spirit and your dreams, your prayers and visions that you seek. You bring all the goodness that comes from your hearts, that the Spirit of God and the Spirit of love may dwell within. Adith Emmanuel welcomes you into our community, into this holy place. May we open our hearts and minds to you. Let us share each other's stories and traditions. May you join us in our commitment to the study of Torah, repairing the world, the joyous celebration of Jewish life, and active participation in the congregation. May you find this community to be a source of strength and joy in the years ahead. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheanu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Blessed are you, eternal our God, ruler of the universe, for giving us life, for sustaining us all these years, and enabling us to reach this special time as we offer this ancient benediction. May God bless you and keep you. May God's radiance shine upon you and be gracious to you. May God's presence be with you always and give you peace. Shalom. Welcome. May be seated. And you may close your books. There's something in this week's Torah portion, Toldot, which has always bothered me. Esau says to his father Isaac, Barcheni gam ani avi, which means, bless me too, Father. So let me give you a background of the story. Who's Esau? Who's Isaac? Any twins in the house? Anybody who's a twin? Okay. So Esau and Jacob are twins. And it goes back to their mother, Rebekah, who when she was pregnant, she felt like she's like, why is this that I'm having so much trouble? And she cries out to God, and God says, what's happening is you have two nations in your womb. And they're wrestling with one another. And what will happen is that the older one will serve the younger. And sure enough, when they're born, Esau is the older of the twins, and he comes out first. However, Jacob, which actually means holding the heel, is holding the heel of his brother when he is born. And so Esau and Jacob have very different personalities. Esau was, and they also look different too. Esau's described as redheaded and hairy, and Jacob is smooth-skinned. Esau likes to be out hunting, and Jacob likes to stay at home. And so these were two siblings who never really got along too well. There was one time where Esau was out hunting, and he came home, but he was famished, and Jacob, the guy who liked to stay at home, was really good at making soup or stew, and so he's making something, and Esau comes home, and this is me paraphrasing the Torah, I'm famished, give me something to eat. And Jacob says, okay, I'll give you something. Why don't you sell me your birthright, and I'll give you something to eat. And Esau was like, fine, I'm so hungry, you can have my birthright, I just want something to eat. And in this way, Jacob, the second-born, received all the rights as if he was the firstborn in what would be inherited by him when their father died. There was another time, a little later in our Torah portion, in which Isaac, who by now was old, and the way it's described, it says his eyes have dimmed. He was near blind, and he says to Esau, oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, we do have a little favoritism in this family. Isaac, the father, favors Esau, and Rebekah, the mother, favors Jacob. So Isaac says to his beloved son Esau, Esau, I'm growing old. I would like you to go out, hunt something for me, bring it back, we'll make a dish, and then I will offer you my blessing. The blessing of the firstborn. This is a custom. So Rebekah overhears this conversation, and she, by the way, is keeping in mind what God said to her when she was pregnant. The older shall serve the younger. And so she's thinking, Esau shouldn't get this blessing. It should go to Jacob. So what she does is she devises a plan, and she says, Jacob, come here. Your brother's out hunting. Come quick. We're going to have you get the blessing. And she makes something quick some game that they had, and to give it to Isaac. And Jacob says, but Mom, I'm smooth-skinned, and my brother has a lot of hair. Dad's going to know this. And so she puts on goat skins on his hands, his arms, so that if Jacob goes to Isaac, and, he might hold his hand, or Jacob will appear as if he's Esau. So what happens? Jacob goes with the stew. He goes to Isaac, and Isaac says, who are you, my son? Because he says, here I am for the blessing. He says, I am your son Esau. Jacob says this. And Isaac maybe asks a couple times, like, are you sure? And sure enough, Jacob plays the role that he's Esau, even maybe answering some of the questions the way Esau would. And Isaac says, come here, let me just feel you. The voice is the voice of Jacob. But the hand is the hand of Esau. And so Isaac offers this blessing to Jacob. Esau then comes in from the hunt. He's got his game prepared. He's ready to give it to his father. Hi, Father, I'm home here. Let's have you eat this food and then bless me. Who is this? Isaac asks. It's your son Esau. And Isaac says, but I just gave away the blessing to what we all know is Jacob. And Esau says, bless me too, Father. Barcheni gam ani. Have you not reserved a blessing for me? And this, by the way, is the blessing Esau gets as the second person blessed. See, your abode shall enjoy the fat of the earth and the dew of heaven above. Yet by your sword you shall live, and you shall serve your brother. But when you grow restive, you shall break his yoke from your neck. I recall studying this Torah portion with a B'nai Mitzvah student who felt that what Esau received is just not fair. Why did Esau, or what is it that Esau did that was so bad that he should receive that sort of blessing? Esau didn't lie and deceive, and that's a conversation for tomorrow morning about lying and deception in Judaism, especially around this scenario. Esau, he was an outdoorsy guy. He was a hunter. His greatest transgression that we know of in the Torah story is that he spurned his birthright. He gave it up for some stew. And after this, what I might describe as weak blessing, W-E-A-K, we learn that Esau says to himself that after his father dies and the mourning period is over, Esau is going to set out to kill Jacob. So Jacob flees, but after their father dies, Esau never pursues this path. And yet, over the centuries, later texts, midrash, and commentaries, they have turned Esau and his line, his descendants, into this symbolic enemy of Jacob and his descendants. And so I ask, as this has bothered me, could not the words of Esau's blessing back in the book of Genesis have been more of a genuine blessing? Blessings, which are truly words bestowing goodness, should not be a zero-sum game, in which they only have enough blessing to hand out to one person and unable to impart similar words on others. Blessings are like love. I remember a woman shared with me her experience when her second child was born. Any second children in the room? Keep your hands up. Any third children? Or after third, fourth, or fifth? Keep your hands up. I'm just curious. Okay, we can put our hands down. And this was her experience when her second child was born. She said she witnessed an outpouring of unconditional love that she didn't know she had the capacity for, that she could have even more unconditional love for this additional person in her family. And here she was, loving this child as much as she loved her first child. This mother, unlike Isaac and unlike Rebekah, possessed and expressed an unlimited and unmeasured motherly love for the second child just as much as the first. Blessings should be like love in this capacity. Similarly, so should compassion. Expressing compassion need not be a zero-sum game. Recently, multiple people have shared with me that they are shy to talk about Israel with other Jews because while their hearts are breaking for our brothers and sisters and siblings in Israel, they are also feeling the pain for people in Gaza who are victims of this war. I was honored to go to the March for Israel in Washington, D.C. this past Tuesday and be there with several members of Adith Emmanuel. There were many good speeches. Some of you might have seen or read about them in the news or watched the live stream. Anybody see some of those speeches? Deborah Messing, known to most as the actress who played Grace in Will and Grace, that long-running sitcom, acknowledges how we can express compassion beyond ourselves. At the march, she said, "We will worry for our global Jewish family and also hurt for the innocent Palestinians used as human shields by Hamas." News this week about weapons of war hidden in Shifa Hospital and other hospitals in Gaza confirms how Hamas was indeed using human shields, hiding behind Palestinian civilians. Dr. Michal Biton, a Latina who immigrated to America from Argentina, is a Torah teacher, thought leader, a sociologist of American Jews. And at the march, she passionately spoke. And if you haven't seen her speech, I recommend that you go back and look for it. It's Michal Biton, and she spells her name Mijal Bitton. And she said, "We stand here in support of Israelis whose fathers and mothers and brothers and sisters and sons and daughters and friends were murdered or taken captive. We stand here in support of our Israeli nation, who has stood up like a nation of lions to liberate Israeli and Palestinian children from the nightmare of Hamas." And there were other speakers at the march with similar messages, and some who just focused their messages of compassion for Israelis and Jews worldwide who are experiencing an exponential explosion of anti-Semitism and Jew hatred. Earlier in our Torah portion, Isaac is camping in the Wadi of Gerar, and he digs anew wells of his father Abraham, and he gives them names. The Torah tells us that he gives these wells the same names that his father had given them, and then we learn, it's a little confusing, that as the wells are being done, Isaac names them for what's happening in the moment. So one well he names Esek, which means contention, because the herdsmen of that place called Gerar and Isaac's herdsmen are quarreling. So he names it Esek, contention. There's a second well called Sitnah. He names it Sitnah, meaning harassment, because there too at that well they disputed. And then they came to a third well in which they did not quarrel, and so Isaac names it Rehovot, which means expanse or ample space. Because God granted ample space for both Gerar's and Isaac's herdsmen to dwell and increase in the land. Similarly, may God grant us enough space in this place for different voices, different views, and expressions of compassion. Especially on this Shabbat, as we welcome and bless our new members, we also recognize the veteran members and send blessings to you who have been part of our synagogue for years, even decades. In this house of God, there is expanse enough for multiple blessings, for expressions of compassion, for different voices to be heard. As we now listen to the words of this composer, Beth Schaefer, her song, "In This House," we all come together in this house.
As the choir comes up, I would like for you to repeat after me. In this house, in this house, in this house, in this house, we all together now. It all comes together in this house. In this house, in this house, in this house.
We turn now to page 586 at the bottom of the page. As we are able, we rise in body and spirit for Aleinu. Our thoughts turn now to those who are no longer with us, and so we turn to pages 598 and 599 in our Siddur. As we think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, as well as those who have died at the season in years past, we mention by name William Broderick, uncle of Sandy Messenger Aguilar, and Murray Savar, beloved friend of many in this congregation who died in the past 30 days, this period of time we call Shloshim. And we also observe the yahrzeit on this Shabbat of Howard Beckerman, Betty Kaminsky, Shana Kramer, Marcella Malamut, Eugene Novak, Leon Pepper, Milton Richter, Harry Rosenbluth, Beatrice Savage, Rebecca Schaefer, Rose Selman, Ann Seltzer, Betty Uberbin, Ann Wright, Sarah Zach, and other names we should add at this time. If you're joining us remotely, please add those names in the chat at this time. If you're here in the sanctuary, I invite you as you're able to rise and mention those names aloud as my hand passes through the congregation. For those who are in the period of Shiva or Shloshim, I invite you to rise at this time. For those who are in the first year of mourning, to rise at this time. As well as those who are observing a yahrzeit on this Shabbat, to rise at this time. As we are able, we rise in body and spirit as one congregation in comfort and support, continuing now with the words of Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayei chon uv'yomei chon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael,